Good morning, friends. I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. I want to just quickly, before I get yakking, just point out the moon to you this morning. It's very, very difficult to see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to line up that pointed roof there in front of me with the moon, okay? The moon is now directly above the apex of that roof. I hope you're able to pick that up. I was just thinking the Archer size of it has seemingly expanded in the last few hours, but I'd accept that it may be to do with the moisture in the air that causes the moon or the sun to look larger at sunset and moonset periods. But something that struck me, drifted off there, but it's still visible to me, but maybe not so great on the camera. And it's the usual time dropping off my son at school, my son Luke, and it's 7:45, 7:50 a.m., something like that. And what I wanted you to notice this morning, and not the moon actually, was that if you've been come in and watch these live streams that I do sometimes in the morning, you'll notice that over the last few weeks, let's just say 3 to 4 weeks, if you just go back over 3 to 4 weeks and watch where the sun, bollocks my finger, and watch where the sun is at, and how much it has jumped up in the sky. Okay, it's now well up. Let's say 12, 15 degrees up. And it's the same time. If I came a month ago, the sun was barely over those trees. It's jumped that much in a month. And what they're going to do in a few weeks' time is they're going to push the clocks back so as to kind of mitigate some of that jump, because it's going to keep rising. And people say, well, that's fine. That's what we expect to happen on a ball Earth scenario. But the difficulty I have with that is that it's not doing that all across the plane, all across the Earth. You know, you're going to have, you know, my experience of the sun when I was growing up in South Africa. My experience of the sun was where, you know, it didn't alter an awful lot between the seasons. I think there was a total shift of about 2 hours. You know, sort of 5 o'clock to just, you know, 5 o'clock is sunset in the winter, and 7 o'clock, 7:30 in the summer type of thing, you know. Whereas here, you've got the sun, the light source apparently moving a huge amount tracking a huge amount through the sky. If we were on a ball, no matter that it was inclined at 23 degrees, I think that's part of mind muddling, is to say, well, because it's sort of 23 degrees and it's a sort of bulge, and you're only at 35 degrees on it if you're in South Africa, and you're at 55 degrees or whatever if you're in England, away from the equator, that means that the effect is greater because you're closer to the pole. I would suggest that that's absolute tosh, and that no matter where I was on the ball, if you were to alter the inclination, because remember, the sun's not moving, the sun's meant to be stationary. So if you alter anyone's position on the ball, anyone facing the sun, they would feel that rise in the sky. They would, or not feel necessarily, because no one feels anything, but they would notice that rise in the sky being the same, measurably the same amount. You're not getting that here. So that's that. I mean, I don't need to belabor it. You know, the fact is that the sun, they'll put it down to, you know, position here. And really, if you put a stick on a ball and, you know, apparently move the angle of that ball, then every stick is going to notice that difference of the angle. It's going to be the same gradient. You're going to shift the ball 15 degrees up, and the sun is going to rise earlier. It doesn't really work, actually, but I think what they do is they use mathematics to say, oh, well, what you do is you do this sum and you do that. Then when you've done that, you're able to do this. And that'll prove that, which is actually a load of bollocks. Anyway, I can still see the moon. And, you know, for those who are still listening to me who are of a ball kind of mindset, you know, you've got to know that I've seen the exact same shadow on that moon all through the course of the night. So how is the sun meant to be how is the Earth meant to be causing that shadow on the moon when the moon is now above the Earth, and so is the sun, apparently. So that little theory of yours is absolute tosh. And if you think that, oh, someone has explained to me that the sun is illuminating the dark side of the moon, again, mainstream science will say that that's, even they'll agree that that's not happening. I think my glasses may have got damaged. Anyway, I'll just quickly say hello to anyone who's stopped by. Hi, Telly. Oh, you're watching the moon from Staffordshire. Yeah, it's okay, cool. Well, yeah, it does look larger. And I was I don't know if I said that, but I was wondering whether you know, the chemtrails are also one of the sort of things I don't think people discuss, is that you know, what if they're just sort of lightly dusting, not always, but just lightly dusting the sky, so that my range, the distance that I could see the moon, has been severely hampered by the light fuzz, the icing that they've put into the atmosphere around us. So that reduces the distance that you can see things. So perhaps we would notice phenomena were it not for the dust in the air. Anyway. Oh, you're watching the sun. Okay. Well, I mean, for me, the sun is just it is that white sun today, and it's hard to look at, and it's definitely got that dust in the air around it. Silly, that's for you, but it's just, you know, there's plenty of these streakers flying around. I could pick them out all day long, at the moment, anyway. And would you believe that a guy who thinks he knows what he's talking about approached me in Speaker's Corner and said that the plane is rising. That's what you see there, is a plane rising to account for the curvature of the Earth. It's coming up the side of the ball. He really, really believed that, or believes that. And that the apex of this rising will be above my head, obviously. But if anybody else is watching it, the apex will be above their head. Again, it's ludicrous. Ludicrous. Anyway, there's a lot of chitter chatter going on in the truth community. I think there's a lot of funny energy around. I think a lot of people are asking the questions about what's going on, and who's ever going to take notice, and, you know, is everybody barking up the wrong tree, and are we being misguided? There's a lot of that uncertainty around, and a lot of people, perhaps maybe I'm one of them, you know, thinking, okay, so, you know, is this it? You know, are we just slowly, you know, moving towards an ever more ignorant or dumbed down, disabled society, the health and safety society, the one that can't think for itself anymore, that needs instruction manuals written on the toilet paper. So is this what's going on? And we're just going to have to find our own way to find a more natural way of life, a more in tune with Mother Nature? Or are we being swept along with the destruction of the system, the intentional destruction of the system, the intentional implosion of the system to create a new world order or a new way of doing things? Not one that's necessarily in what we have in mind, but, you know, one still driven by deception and deceivers and, you know, ne'er-do-wells. Or are we just like that guy I encountered at the cathedral the other day, just simply going along? The majority of us just going along with whatever it is. But, you know, these events that occur, that are big news events that seem to kind of get us all in a tiz and at each other's throats and so on, they've definitely got a purpose. They're definitely there for a reason. So it feels to me like, you know, things will happen, things are changing, things are, you know, in flux, and in the not too distant future our our knowledge will come in useful, and our preparation for standing without, but having gone within. Anyway, I'll keep it short, and I'll bid you a good day. Did anyone else come say hello? It's not very busy this morning. I guess it is Monday morning. You bought 2 pairs of black total block sunglasses. They're brilliant. I can see. Oh wow. Okay. Hi Gracie. I tried to watch the moon last week, but was obscured by a messy cloud. You notice that it was lying over? Seen that before, very strange. What do you mean by lying over? I mean, for me, the sun rolls through the sky like that, right? Very slowly, at half the speed of the hour hand. So it takes patience to watch it, note its positioning, and then see how it'll twist like an hour hand. I think it's doing that once every day. I'm not absolutely certain on exactly how it works, but I know that I think that if I see it in Australia, I see it earlier in the roll. If I see it in America, I see it later in the roll. So we always see the same bit shaded, and we might see it from an upside down perspective if we're in the southern plain, southern regions. But that's my kind of thing on the moon. Fascinating and important. Yeah. Yes, like tilted 45 degrees. Okay, well, I mean, for me, I always see like a disc, that I'm looking at a disc. But depending on whether you see it early in the day, like if you see it, depending on the phase of the moon, then you'll either get to see it during the daytime, and that means you'll get to see it earlier in the roll. Let's say you get to see it by midday. You'll get to see it, if you're in England anyway, you'll get to see the sort of what I call the mouth. You'll get to see it all the way cocked up here. But if you get to see it in the evening, it'll be like this. And then when you get to see it at this time of the day, it's already rolled all the way around. If you can see it clearly, you'll see it's already rolled all the way around like this. So that's why I've concluded. I did a video on it a few months ago. You can check it out in my back catalogue. It's not very tidy, but it's there. Yeah, I've heard about blue glasses as well, but amber sounds interesting, my tiger. He says that it's better to wear amber glasses than dark glasses. This way you still receive the light. Eyes are they're meant to. Yeah, well, I look without, but I mean, there may be a better way because of the chem stuff, but I do look without. But I do try and catch it early in the morning if I can, or late in the day. Anyway, I've got to rock and roll. Busy old day. You take care, my friends. Take care, stay well, stay strong, and stay in your heart, because at the end of the day, everything's happening for a reason. And it's not bad. It just seems uncomfortable at times. Trust me, I know that.